This is the North End. This is the North End.
Welcome to the North End. It is time for reviews and previews. We are squeezing it in. We are trying to make it all happen. It is a busy time in football at the moment. I am here with Paul and Connie. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Connie, it's been a while. I hope you're okay. I know you've been struggling a little bit. How are you doing right now? How's things?
Oh, back's killing me. Happy to be here with you folks talking some football. It's been a while. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Paulie, good to see you too, brother. How's things?
Good. My back is a little stiff from carrying Dave Convery on this podcast for years, but otherwise I'm fine. I do like that you started this entire thing with a sexual innuendo right off the bat, squeezing it all in.
I mean, that's
doing
what
our
we
best
do here
to squeeze it all in.
That's what we do.
It
Here
gets
at the
me
North
primed
End.
for the right kind of conversation. You know what I mean?
I'm glad I could help. I have that effect on people often. So. Lubing it up. Well, speaking of lubing it up, let's get into some results. Unless you guys want, was there anything to talk about before we, Paul? I mean, I went through that pretty quick.
I read some pretty heartbreaking comments by Sergio Aguero just in the state of his heart, and
Yeah.
it's.
No, I didn't hear that. What did he say?
He just when he jogs, he can tell something's wrong, and it's a guy who loves. You have to love to be athletic. You have to love to exercise. You have to love to play. He's not going to be able to do that stuff. And his comments are really sad. Like, it's just like he's clearly in a bad way mentally about it. Hopefully, it all checks itself, and he works with the right doctors, and he gets to a place where he doesn't feel like jogging is going to be a risk for his life. But it's such a sad way to end a career.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I know.
He's young too, still, right? Like, young, not necessarily for a footballer. He's a bit older for a footballer, but he's young.
MLS young.
He's a young
He could've
man.
gone to MLS.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Another 3 or 4 years in the MLS, just killing it, probably.
Yeah.
He would have banged in the goals. He would have banged in the goals at Barcelona if he was healthy.
Yeah.
The guy is
Yeah, for
elite,
sure.
right? If he's healthy.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
That's,
A lot of this stuff is happening. Have you guys noticed it? I mean, it's either an increase. It's probably an increase in reporting. The players having issues with their hearts, or often you're seeing the fans going through something where, this is consistently happening more often during games than it ever had before.
I said this like 3 weeks ago. I can't remember a time in this sport where people are dropping either on the field, in practice, or in the stands with this degree of regularity. There's been 3 or 4 games, I think, this season where like players are seeing something in the stands and waving on the med team, and games are getting stopped while somebody in the stands gets attention. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's
why
being
is it
reported
happening?
now more, if it's happening more often in the public,
Yeah.
and it may have just been happening before. They just didn't show it on the cameras and stuff, which is also
Like this
feasible,
generation
but
of players are just like they're more involved with the fans, and they're looking
maybe,
out for
yeah,
people's
I don't
health.
know, yeah, or they've just decided that once that happened once, it's sort of everybody's doing the same thing. It's hard to know exactly, but it's interesting.
But on a positive note, before we move into anything else, it's nice to see Christian Erickson training with the reserves at Brentford. Right?
Yeah, that's what you want.
I believe, did he not play and get an assist or something like that?
I think he played some sort of closed door game.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, he was out and about, running around, kicking the ball, which
Nice to see.
incredible.
It'll be very exciting should he make any kind of Premier League debut for Brentford.
That'll be a moment, man. That'll be a moment for football, I think, just generally, and just humanity, when somebody comes back from something like that and is able to play.
I mean, we'll get into it, but maybe Brentford need a little bit of a moment.
They could use
Holy
they could
shit!
use
Does anybody need it more?
They could use a little bit of prime Christian Erickson. They won't get a prime one, but even just a wee bit of Christian Erickson, if it gives them something going forward, because they've been struggling. Let's get into some games, guys. Lots to talk about. Paul?
So we'll kick off with Man United and Southampton. This was kind of billed as the Battle of the Germans, which I thought was pretty funny going into this game. I don't know. Every time Ralf Rangnick plays a manager who's from Bundesliga or is German, there's always this and he's playing his weird old uncle, who everybody knew was more intelligent than all the jobs he ever had gave him credit for, and that's Ralf Rangnick. And then he goes out and United fans kind of walk away going, I think that was good. I don't know. But either way, it's Man United dropped points from a position where they're leading again. It's been a little bit of a trend. United simply can't maintain their form for the full 90 minutes. They're a one-half team, it seems like. To emphasize this, Paul Pogba came back and made a fairly significant input on the field. But the stats are pretty crazy. First half, when we're playing really well, he gets the ball 10 times because somebody gives him the ball. Second half, when we're really struggling, he only receives the ball from somebody else 5 times in the heart of the midfield, which is, if you want to know what's going wrong, that's a very telling stat. And then, unfortunately, another kind of look at the big gaping hole in the middle for Man United. The actual goal that was scored is Southampton clearly taking advantage of Paul Pogba not being the most defensively sound midfield player and having absolutely no cover behind him because Scott McTominay cannot read plays like a guy who's been in the league or any league as a defensive midfield player or even an accomplished box-to-box player. He's just not there yet, if he ever gets there. So disappointing day for Man United fans for sure. It was a very sky is falling, overreaction. Everybody was freaking out. If there's a single thing to say that was positive about this game, is it was the first half was very strong for Man United, and it's happening slowly, probably slower than we have time to accommodate, but the way we are now playing, Man United are now playing, opportunities are routinely being made on the pitch. We're just not taking them, which means we are vulnerable for a Harry Maguire mistake, a Paul Pogba mistake, a somebody mistake to get caught up by a talented team like Southampton. And that's that 1-1 draw from me. Connie, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up pretty good. I really like the comments from Ragnick after this game, so I think he's been there long enough. He actually said one thing that really stuck out to me. He goes, I know what it's going to take next season. He goes, that's not my focus. He goes, my focus is this season, and obviously, and Brian can relate to this being a Spurs fan, like, there's a huge fight for top 4. There's probably about 7 first-team players on this team, 7 or 8, where you're like, you might not be good enough for this team. So, like, there could be a huge clear out coming in the summer, and I kind of hope there is, because for the caliber that United are trying to get to, that upper echelon of the league, there's just a lot of players that are just don't have the capability to play in a side. Like, you could bring in Klopp or Guardiola. They'd clear out probably 10 or 11 of them, right? So the players aren't there. Ragnick wants a certain standard. It's not being met. So I think, like a lot of other teams in that position that we're in, Spurs, Wolves, Arsenal, we just have to claw from now until the end of the season to see what happens. But it's just every game's going to be tough, and we'll talk about the game against Brighton a little bit later, but very well summarized.
I don't have much to add to that, really. I just think it's sort of like you mentioned it being similar to Spurs. It's in many sides who are arguably fighting for that top 4 spot, which we're going to get to at some point. Is they're all lacking in that quality to get up to that upper echelon, and there's a lot of dead wood in a lot of those squads.
I think it's also, I mean, everybody talked about the pressing that he would bring in, and it's like you don't just go from 0 to 100.
Doesn't happen automatically, yeah.
And they are, I think, pressing more or working harder now. They're just not physically up to the standard, so they get tired, and I think that plays a role. I'll tell you who's not getting tired. Southampton, and this I discovered today. The Athletic did this investigation. I think it's pertinent because I think it's hilarious. They are a high-pressing, high-energy team, like so many clubs out there, right? And the Athletic did the summary where 14 out of 24 games, they had somebody go down on the pitch to get treatment at the 60th to 70th minute of the game, which is when you start feeling some level of tired. And while they're getting attended on the pitch, all the other players are coming to the side.
How many games?
14 out of 24.
Yeah, the article came out today. Read it, Brian. It's incredible.
But while everybody is getting attention...
Is that significant, though?
While everybody's getting attention at this point, the rest of the team are going off to the sidelines and taking basically an energy supplement, that staves off like muscle tension and has all these like benefits. They're basically engineering a orange slices break in the middle of the game at the exhaustion point of the game. It is absolutely significant because you don't randomly have in a 10-minute span consistently a player going down, not coming off, going down to get some kind of treatment, and you can see them doing it. They all run over to the sidelines like it's a prearranged, we know what we have to do thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair shout.
So they're calling it a strategy. They're saying that really somebody in the room from the medical or the managerial staff has said, at this time slot, someone go down.
It's
this
a smart
is what
thing
we
to
need.
do. I mean,
you know what? I can't knock it.
What other teams need to do is take advantage of it when they do it. Oh, they're doing it
as well.
Go over and do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So you're not falling behind. But yeah, that's funny.
I don't know. I like to see the game where they can't do it for some reason, and their bodies all shrivel up like raisins because they don't have that super juice in their body. But otherwise, like crazy. I just thought it was like I'm not mad at it. It's just so inventive. But at the same time, now that
anything
you've
to
been
get
found
advantage right now, man.
Can you still do it now that everybody's going to start calling it out as being the move that you pull, the Southampton?
Yeah.
We'll move on to Bradford or Crystal Palace. What a garbage game. Can't say too much about it. 0-0. Both teams badly need to win at some point. Only one of these teams has a win in this calendar year so far, and that's Crystal Palace. And it's not really worth mentioning who they beat and how they beat them because the record is more losses and draws than anything else. Tough time, I think, to be a fan of either of these teams. Brentford, we'll talk about it. The former is out the window. Crystal Palace, I don't see how you could be a happy fan right now. There's been such a drop-off in their performance since early in the season. And it was a rough for us, like the down the middle people who just like want to watch an entertaining game.
Awful.
Like one moment of quality, if that.
Yeah,
tops.
I think that's generous. We don't even need to talk about it that much for that reason.
However, an entertaining all hell game was Everton beating Leeds 3-0. This is a complete Everton bombardment to the very open style of Leeds. This all or nothing style of Leeds lets everybody, even if they're in poor form, have a go. It was awesome. Anthony Gordon wins man of the match with 1 goal and 1 assist. The 20-year-old really starting to take a claim for himself in that Everton team, despite the fact that there's been so many purchases. He's an academy guy, which is great. And then this is a little bit painful, but of general interest, and you can't really escape it. But Van de Beek is a Man United player. Everybody's wondered why he hasn't been able to play in the midfield for Man United. And this game raises more questions than it answers anything because he had 90% pass accuracy, made 10 ball recoveries, 4 tackles, and he was 10 of 13 in the final third passes, which is all in all fucking great day at the office.
Yeah,
most pundits had him in their team of the week. So this is what, as a United fan, Paul's a United fan, and Brian, if you had somebody out on loan, this is what you want to see from a loanee, right? So if you're a loanee like him with $40 million price tag, you want to go and give everyone the big fuck you.
I do think it's a bit of a piss take though, because the United fans are probably like, why did we just loan this guy? Is what we need. You know?
But honestly, think about it though, Brian. If none of the managers are going to play him, the one
I
thing
get that, but I mean, why are none of the managers playing?
Oh, totally.
That, and I guess that's the question, right? And it is one game. It's a small sample size. Let's just keep that in mind. If he does this week in, week out, and for the rest of the season, and he scores a few goals, and he's a cog in the wheel of Everton's comeback from looking like they might go down to being a team that's going to finish mid-table, then you give him the credit for it, and you guys are going to make your money back, but. It's one game. Often a player comes back in that first game and they show everything, and then you eventually see why the team didn't want him in the first place because they can't do it week in, week out.
But also to Everton, Lamps is in there now. He's got Deli, he's got Donny. He needs these guys to get it going with the way they've been playing like the last couple of months. So let's see what they can do. I think this is more, if Everton turn it around, and not so much Lampard, I think it's more of an indictment on Rafa Benitez and what kind of manager he really is. I think it's
that old style football coaching that is an indictment on. I think you could put Ancelotti in the same category to some extent. These are good old managers, but they're old managers. They're not, despite Lampard, not necessarily being successful yet. He's young and has new ideas. Those new ideas will get the players excited, especially younger players, and they look at him as a player that they probably grew up watching and respect a certain way that they're gonna respond differently.
Totally.
It's it's a tricky one. As a Man United fan, I love seeing Van de Beek play well, but I'm also struck by the fact that he was playing beside Allen, who is a very good defensive midfield player who knows how to cover a guy. And maybe that's a missing piece for United. I'm with Connie. The better he performs, the better for everybody. He either becomes an option for us down the road, or we get to sell him and not lose that much money on him. In the meantime, this was an entertaining game. I think this is the first time we're really going to see what Frank Lampard's capable of doing. But it was against Leeds. It's the ultimate. But
It's a good one because you get to be offensive, and we do think that Lampard is going to try to express them like that, and you have the space to do it against the Leeds.
No offense to Leeds, but if there's a team you got to mark on your calendar, being like, I'm looking forward as a player.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You're going to be chances.
Having some fun.
Yeah, just don't fuck it up.
Watford are not having fun. Watford lose to Brighton 2-0. Watford 6 straight home games in the top division for the first time in their history. They lose them. This was troubling. Watford are looking increasingly like there's just no chance of them escaping the bottom. Whereas Brighton, in a rarity, win a game and win scoring 2 goals. Tariq Lamptey was the man of the match. He's a
fantastic little player.
On fire. He was dangerous.
So good.
He's so good. And I really, it begs a lot of questions of who should he go to next, because it shouldn't be Brighton. And I don't.
They're going to struggle keeping him. I would in a second take him at Spurs. It's exactly
I don't know
what
about
Spurs
that,
are dying
man.
for right now.
I don't think Brighton love him. He didn't start against United yesterday.
I think it's just probably
a health thing.
I would say health. I would just say rotation. I mean, there's in his system. There's a lot of use on the wingbacks, especially him. So he's getting a lot of running around. So I would imagine he's very like top of the list on a first name on the sheet kind of scenario.
There's only 2 days recovery between Saturday playing and Tuesday.
Yeah.
And
I think that's it.
True.
Recently been back, and it's a good strategy. They put him on and he tore United up.
Yeah,
and he
he's
tore
so
him up
good.
because he was fresh legs.
Right
So
off
we
the
had
bench, but you got pace like that anywhere.
Hey man, I'll take him right now. I would
he's
want him.
fantastic.
I'm sure you take him at Spurs too, Brian. He's a nice little player.
In a second. It's exactly what we're missing right now. Him under Conte's system would be ridiculous.
No, unreal.
Ugh.
I like the chances of it happening. Like, he should play someplace where he will be a right wing back and not a right back. And Conte's system,
just let him do his thing. And his crossing is incredible. His dribbling is really good. Like, he is a great right wing back.
He would be great under Conte. Quick question for both of you. Dennis on Watford. A lot of us have had him in fantasy for a long time. Is it time to drop him?
Hell yeah, a long time ago.
I'm thinking about it. You're keeping him
No.
just because of the price, bro? I mean, Paul. He's so cheap.
there's nobody cheaper that you can buy in your rotation. That, like, you don't have to play him, but you should keep him in your team.
Yeah.
No, just rotation, guys. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like if you bought him months ago or weeks ago even, you're not going to be able to rebuy him for the same price. You're taking a hit if you sell him, and you're not selling him to get somebody significantly better, because there aren't any real goal scorers in fantasy football at the striker position right now anyways.
I looked today, and I was like thinking about moving in both of my strikers. There's nobody to bring in. None of the strikers are scoring goals this season, which is something we should probably talk about in another pod.
And
But
folks,
not this
that
week.
was fantasy corner here on the North.
There we go.
We're so going to get commission for all the points that people are going to get because of that.
Yeah.
Fantasy
We're
corner. It's a special
very
week.
reasonable.
Just chuck it in wherever.
Very reasonable. Man City just bombard and beat and
Smash.
and just smash, and it's not fair. It's a
What do you
different
say?
Knew this was
What do you
coming.
even say anymore?
against
They won
Norwich.
5. They won 5-0 in the Champions League yesterday. Like, it's becoming a bit of a joke. Like, if for me, I consider them to be the best team in the world, like, by a mile. Like, I think if they played Liverpool or Chelsea or Bayern Munich or PSG in the Champions League final, I think they'd beat them comfortably. Is that a stretch?
I think that's. I don't think that's a stretch if Guardiola does not tinker.
Yeah,
But
like
he
he did,
will-
like he did against Chelsea.
like he does every time. So he
Yeah.
will tinker, and they will not win the Champions League. That's almost an inevitability. Just as much as them smoking everybody in the Premier League is, he's not going to win the Champions League because he's going to do something stupid.
It is with great pain and not a lot of anything but pain, just straight pain. Jurgen Klopp's boys are a tournament team, and
Yeah,
if they were to go head to head,
I'd pick Liverpool.
I don't know that it's as cut and dry that Man City are that much better. I certainly think Man City are top 1, 2, 3 in the world. Man City, Jurgen Klopp's team, and Bayern Munich. If a Fonzie Davis is healthy and he's got his heart kind of working and he's not at risk of anything, by the way, I hope he gets much better, much sooner than planned. There's nobody else that can touch those guys. Like I don't think PSG
No.
are in that conversation. They've got great talent, but I don't think they can.
They're not living up to the standard of that talent at the moment either.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking graveyard over there at PSG.
And it's like, I mean, Lionel Messi. They keep playing him, and he's not Lionel Messi of what he was.
Doesn't look the
rated
same,
him like
does
a
he?
3 out of 10 in his Champions League performance yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just like it's pretty nasty to see that.
I think honestly, Man City, yes, it's a weird, wild time, but for the Premier League, I can also say I think that two of the top teams on the planet right now on form and potential to win the Champions League are both English clubs.
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
Kind of why we're
Hard to
all
argue.
down here looking up at those fuckers, and why the season's a little bit of a wash. But
They're far better than anybody else
maybe not.
in any league in their domestic league, and it's one of the hardest leagues that exists. So, or it's not the hardest league. So
I watched Bayern Munich today. They're not the same team. We all know Barcelona, Real Madrid aren't. PSG, I think, are a bit of a piss take. Liverpool and Man City, if either of them made it to the final, you'd be comfortable putting your money on them at this
100%.
point. Yeah.
Speaking of Liverpool,
Speaking of Liverpool, this was a much edgier game than I think the scoreline suggests. Burnley were in this game.
Burnley doing
had-
Burnley things, man.
honestly, they had not just an opportunity for a draw out of this. They could have justifiably said to themselves, "We could have won that game." They were in on the goalie one-on-one a couple of times. They had a significant bombardment on Allison. Allison got he was a busy keeper this game and saved his team's ass a couple times. I know it's a 1-0 and it's probably better for the league that it's a 1-0 so that somebody can keep up with Pep and his guys. But I felt for Burnley in this one. I thought they deserved something out of this. They put in such a good performance. This new striker of theirs looks like a fish in water. If he was a little bit sharper and maybe a little bit more composed,
He's exactly what they need, though.
he could have given them the win.
It's a good transfer for them to get through the season. To maybe, I mean, it's hard to get from where they are out of that, but certainly a transfer like that's going to give them opportunities that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Ben Mee and
Unfortunately,
Tarkowski.
he came off this game injured, which is the unfortunate.
Oh,
Yeah.
did he? I didn't see that shit.
This is what I don't think people talk about Burnley. Ben Mee and Tarkowski are two probably better than Burnley level center backs. And I often wonder if a West Ham or maybe an Everton will go at least Tarkowski. Ben Mee's pretty solid, but Tarkowski should be top 8, at least for one of those teams. He's solid every time I watch him. He's big and strong, and that back line is pretty solid for Burnley. They don't have a lot moving forward.
Yeah,
And
they don't let in a ton of goals, but
No,
don't-
and
well,
they
he's
do
a
this
Free
to
agent
top
this
teams.
summer, by the way.
Oh, there you go. So someone will probably snap him up, but yeah.
Maybe certain teams are looking to shore up their defense.
Yeah.
One more toss out. How good of a signing has Fabinho been for Liverpool? He's just smooth. He could play right
Consistent
back.
every game, too.
Yeah, fuck, man. They've recruited so well. Fuck them.
it's annoying how well they've recruited him.
I know it really is.
I don't want to talk about it.
Let's move on, Paul. Move on.
Have Newcastle done any recruitment?
So
Big
Newcastle
result
won.
from Newcastle. Big result.
Aston Villa 0. It's a bit of a shocker. We'll talk about this a little bit because we're going to talk about form over the last 6 games and which clubs are maybe surprising everybody. Newcastle, I thought looked pretty comfortable in this win. I know there's a lot of Aston Villa fans out there who watch us that maybe feel differently, but for me, this felt like a team that had found its groove versus a team that just wasn't at the races this day. Didn't feel like there was any major concerns about what I watched. I mean, Ollie Watkins is a bit of a passenger these days, so there's stuff for Aston Villa to maybe be worried about, big picture. But for me, this was just a good gutsy performance by Newcastle, and I think a deserved win.
I think Gerard's body language towards the end of the game when he's slumping in his seat sort of says everything about Villa's performance. I don't think Villa played very well. Like you said, I think the players up front weren't clicking. There was nothing going on there, but you got to give credit to Newcastle. And of course, Kieran Trippier, that's two goals from free kicks. His last 2 free kicks taken. I mean, pretty impressive stuff. Sadly, he gets injured in this game, has to come off, which is going to be really, Newcastle's are going to miss him. And I think that's a probably a little bit of a surprise for people because I think people know he's a good player. He was good at Spurs. He went to Germany, played well there, won a league title. Was a bit of a sketchy why is he going to Newcastle?
No, he went to Spain. He went to Atletico Madrid.
My apologies, Spain. He went to Spain, but when he came back, it was kind of why is he going to Newcastle? Of course, he's getting paid, but they might go down. But they've done the right things, and you can see it in the team and the way that they're playing. That the transfers that they brought in, they've put some depth in the right positions in their squad. He will be a big miss though if they can keep him. They can keep him fit. If he can, comes back from this and plays quite a few more games towards the end of the season, they will stay up. Sadly.
I said he was a great signing, and you guys laughed at me on that pod. You're like, I don't know, he's old. He doesn't have it in him anymore. He's been brilliant. His free kicks are incredible.
Who laughed at you?
I don't remember that at all. But Connie making up Connie things here.
I said I think he's a great signing, and I think I don't know. It might have been JP or somebody, and it was like, no, I don't know. And I was like, man.
I think there's a reserve, for good reason to be reserved about him going to Newcastle. He just won a league in Spain, and he's coming to Newcastle, who are fighting for relegation. What's the value for him other than the money he's getting paid? If they go down, he's kind of fucking himself potentially because then he has to leave. You know what I mean? So there was a reason to be doubtful about the transfer, not necessarily the quality. He's a good player, and he's gonna be an improvement on anybody in Newcastle. So it's improvement there. Was it a good transfer? Turns out so far so good, but see how the injury goes with him, because if the injury sticks for a long time, that's a big miss for them.
But also, feels like Luke would have maybe given you some shit because
that sounds Newcastle like Luke.
So much. I forget who it was, but I was like, "Fuck, man, he's a good player." And you sign a striker like Chris Wood, not just like the dead balls and the free kicks, but his crossing, right? Yeah, I thought it was a genius transfer. Hopefully, the injury's not that bad, and we see him back soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it like a Band-Aid here, boys and girls. Spurs 0, Wolves 2. My goodness, Wolves are on fire. Don't sleep on them. Pay attention to them. They are playing with some energy and some purpose. And Ruben Neves is I get annoyed when he goes under the radar and people don't talk about how good he is. I get annoyed when Man United fans specifically, or even Arsenal fans, or any team that's looking for like a reversal of fortune, do not remember how immensely talented he is with the ball, but B, how much of a character guy this guy is. If you want to talk about what he's been doing as a leader, as a character guy, like the start with the game against Arsenal, watch where they complained about how Arsenal acted like a bunch of school children when they beat them 1-0. Watch how cool and calm and like business as usual he is beating Tottenham, which is a huge win for Wolves. They must have been ecstatic, but you wouldn't be able to tell from his face. I thought he was fantastic this game, but I am aware that a lot of the troubles with the scoreline probably started more with the form and the play of Spurs.
Let's go with that, because to me it's pretty clear. There's like two very, very grave errors for both of their goals, and that has become a pattern in the last few games. Spurs have lost 3 in a row in the league. Really, really bad run of form, missing a couple of key players. There's a key statistic that I saw on Twitter today. The 5 games that Skip and Dyer have both played in, 0 goals scored against, and 5 wins. And when they haven't played, 13 goals against and 0 wins. So it sort of tells you what we're missing, and lack of depth. The issue is specifically in defense. When Dyer doesn't play, there's no organization. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. And even Lloris looked like two errors from him, to be fair, for both goals. It was just a shambles in that first 25 minutes. We got our shit together. More of the possession, couldn't cut them open, couldn't finish when the chances that we had, and it's dire moments at Spurs at the moment. To lose 3 in a row and probably 4, because we're going to get to who Spurs are playing at the weekend. It's pretty hard to suggest any other scoreline than a loss again. That'd be 4 in a row under Conte in the league. That never thought I would say that after the first 8 games of going unbeaten.
But let's be fair though, despite the errors, this Wolves team are.
They were good, but they weren't
really
that much better than Spurs. Spurs were just their own worst enemy.
But Spurs are a very good team. Under Conte, Spurs have been a different team. They've been very good. But
I wouldn't say very good. I think that's a stretch. I think you got to be
honest.
Well,
lately, I guess, right? But Wolves don't fear anybody, and Wolves can play with pretty much anyone in the league. And
I'd say that. I'd
just-
agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're doing great, and man, I really hope Neves looks good in red because he is just getting near. He's getting near the top of my list for midfielders because he's
I think
just
anybody who's trying to
Oh,
get into
yeah.
that top 4 position. I think United. I think Spurs. I think Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think any West Ham, any team would you got him in the team, and it would infinitely put him more than likely to finish in that 4th spot comfortably.
And sources are
if he
saying
stays- if he stays fit.
sources are saying he's ready for a move. I'm not saying like to United or like
He's
to
incredible.
Arsenal.
He's incredible.
He wants that next move. People close to him are saying. So let's see what happens.
I'm so excited.
Paul.
I don't even care
Paul's giddy.
where
He
he
doesn't even
goes.
know if it's happening yet.
I would just like to
Aw.
see him play somewhere else. I just want to see what this guy.
I want to see
Can
him
do
with
on a
other
bigger stage.
top players. Not to say that Wolves
Yeah.
don't have a good side, but
That's
like
a good
that
shout.
that echelon above, where
Yeah.
if you put him in a midfield in a city team, how fucking good would he be?
That's
Like,
a
it'd be
great shout.
ridiculous.
Although
how
it's not
good
like he hasn't played with great players. Like Jota wasn't what he is now, only because we didn't know who he was.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
he was
for sure.
still fucking.
I just
super
mean like a
talented.
full team of great players.
Yeah.
Every position, he would be incredible to watch because
Or play against a team that gives you a low block occasionally. What can Ruben Neves do against a low block?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know because how often does it happen?
he's
Against
never
Wolves?
he's never had to do that.
They never do it.
Yeah.
So the next game, Brendan Rodgers, 1 win in the last 6. He thought he had it. He did until the 91st minute when Craig Dawson pops up for a goal. Leicester are it's redundant now. Like they've been in this position all season. Been battling injuries, been battling a lot of stuff. There's a lot of talk about Brendan Rodgers. I'm still of the mind of they know they're out of the running. How do you motivate that group when there's still so many injuries? Tielemans is probably going to be moving on. How do you motivate the rest of the players?
Played
when
better
they
in
all
this
probably
game,
know
though.
it?
Did play
And
better.
they did look better. And then
him in particular though, he's been bad, and he looked a bit better in this game. I
he's
thought.
putting himself in the window.
Yeah, I would agree for sure.
And the flip of this is obviously that West Ham, who are in that top 4 race, are not playing particularly well, or not looking like they could be.
Except for maybe Jared Bowen. Just a shout out to him.
Oh.
Fucking hell, he looks good right
So
now. Goal
hot
and
right
assist
now.
in this game.
Jaron Bowen is the
best player
the,
on their team at the moment.
the most informed player in the Premier League right
Yeah,
now.
for
is
sure.
Jaron Bowen.
Yep.
He's
And
been
that's-
incredible.
That's crazy.
It's annoying,
you know what?
but he's been good.
It's something I was dilly-dallying in about, and I think we should probably do it at some point. It's interesting. I think there's probably a good segment we could do one day where we call out the best players bought at the championship level who were then brought into the Premier League, because he's like maybe the best that I can remember. Madison is maybe the second, because there was a time where he was unstoppable and he's not quite.
Jamie
replicated
Vardy,
that
I mean-
this season.
Jamie Vardy's probably the best of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy.
I mean, he came from like Division 5.
Dude, Jamie Vardy, they made a movie about his meteoric rise.
Pretty
Yeah.
impressive. Maybe a bit of a
Yeah.
different story. I get where Paul's coming from. It's more of like championship to unexpected. I think his
it's not
rise,
like-
you could follow it. And
Yeah.
We're listing off 3 like it's easy, but like honestly, it gets harder when you start going 4 or 5.
oh,
Like,
for sure it does. Yeah, 100%.
like there aren't a ton. And Bowen, you know,
It's not
that
just
good.
his.
Good.
It's not his goals and assists either, guys. It's every time he gets on the ball, he looks like an elite player. Like
His
he's
work rate is
entertaining.
insane at the same time.
Yeah,
as
he's
well.
got it all right now. Great treat to watch.
For sure.
he's got a good head on him too. He's his soccer
Mm-hmm.
IQ is very high. But what does that say? That West Ham, despite the fact they've got one of the most informed players in the Premier League over a fairly extended period of time this season, are still not pulling away, and they're still doing what Tottenham are doing, Man United are doing, and it's like this hot potato of, I don't know if I want to be in 4th. Like
Yeah.
somebody's going to have to put the mantle down and say, okay, we're going to pull away now, because if these wins and losses and ties, if there isn't a trend towards more wins, then it's going to be this really stupid. Do you guys even deserve to be in the Champions League if you can't pull away from each other?
Yeah. And you're
Like, it's-
talking about 4 to 8, though. I'd say for United are in 4th right now. Tottenham are in 8th. Both Tottenham and Arsenal have 3 games in hand. Like 4 to 8, it's anybody's. Like if Wolves finish 4th, would any of us be surprised? I wouldn't.
No,
I would be a little bit surprised, but
I wouldn't.
not because of the last, like, not because of the whole season. Going into the season, I wouldn't have put Wolves in that conversation. They're in it now. They put themselves there. So now I get it completely.
Oh yeah, no, start of the season, absolutely. I would never even have. I would be like, and I like Wolves. I'm on record as like they're fun for me to watch. It's
we
like
know
a second team, and I would never ever think they're in the top 4. And now they've just become so consistent, and the way they play and apply themselves is so
it's that type
consistent.
Of team that will get the top 4 because they're consistent enough to maintain results, getting results. Either if it's a draw or a win, not losing and getting a run of results is the team that's going to get into that position. And
1-0 FC.
It doesn't look like it doesn't look like Spurs are going to do that.
Or United or Arsenal.
I can't remember the last time Arsenal played. It's like West Ham have fallen off. Man United are inconsistent. It's anybody's game, but it will just take literally 4 or 5 guys, one team to win 4 or 5 in a row, and it's their spot. And
Brian, you'll like this.
So that's transition into that possibly that one team, Man United, who have been defeated in a good spell of time, who are in some ways looking much improved and are generating more opportunities and creating less opportunities for the opponents by fucking up as often as they used to. Still a lot, by the way. Beat Brighton 2-0 in a game that, this could have been a 5-0 for Man United if they were anywhere close to kind of clinical that they have the ability to be. Cristiano Ronaldo could have had a hat-trick. He had 1 goal, but he could have had a hat-trick.
He missed a serious sitter.
2 headers.
Right.
2 of them.
It's weird because Man United win against Brighton, who are a very good team and who dominated possession and really made us work for it.
Nearly tied it up in the last 5 minutes as well.
And had an opportunity to tie it up pretty late in the game.
Crazy.
The bar helping out De Gea and De Gea helping out his team. But on a whole, Man United deserved to win because they just created so many opportunities. They're not finishing them enough, but they deserve a 2-0 win.
It was better for Man U, I think, in this game. But it was against 10 men.
Even this game, to get into the top 4, the consistency we're talking about it's still not there. They didn't win a 2-0 comfortably. They could have, but they didn't. They made it 1-0, and then they got very, very edgy, very anxious. Brighton felt the anxiety. Brighton got down a man and still felt the anxiety of the entire Man United squad because there's something character driven about the squad right now that I think is soft, and that goes into the top 4 discussion that we're talking about. I don't see Wolves flaking or panicking late in games.
No,
because they're just like, we're here to win, like whatever it is. Whereas Man United, I feel like they're very aware of their
nerves are massive.
Nerves.
Yeah, you can see the way they're playing with it.
That was, for me, my biggest worry about this game. Was great to win 2-0. It was a super nice game to watch. It was entertaining. It was nervy. I had a good day on the couch. But 10 minutes left in that game, I was like, why are these guys so goddamn nervous? Because if they're nervous against Brighton, who are down a man, I
think it's a build-up is what I think. I think there's a build-up of nerves. They're just kind of going, and it's like the pressure's so on every week. It just, if they don't get the win or if they end up drawing, they're just build.
If you want to finish top 4, if you want to compete for a title,
you got to be able to deal with that. Yeah,
you gotta.
Here's a question: how much do you think Newcastle would pay us for Harry Maguire? Because I'd be happy to do that transaction this summer. Like 40 million, 50 million? Because I think that's a good move for both parties.
Get him out. There's a closet full of Ashley's old suits that they could trade over. And that's probably the most they'd be willing to offer for us. It's I'd like to offer them Fred as well in the deal.
Yeah, well, I think Fred's not good enough. I think Ragnick's figuring it out. I think Sancho's starting to kind of settle in a little bit, which is nice. Which I could say the same about Rashford, but yeah,
there was positives.
Yeah,
there was positives. It's whatever.
It's a win, guys, at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
We'll
take it.
Something.
Basuma looked good. I know he
gave the ball away. Gave the ball away for the Ronaldo goal. Ronaldo goal was class, though.
You guys are still dying for that type of player in your team.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
We're gonna be going through the exercise relatively soon, where I give everybody a fictional sum of money to go to the transfer window to rebuild their team.
Oh, that's a good fun.
That's my favorite part of the season.
It's
that
one of our
part right
best.
there.
Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the season. This will be new on YouTube, so we'll be having some fun with some of the graphics.
Oh yeah.
So I actually think this season each video will be its own separate thing.
Probably yeah. Makes sense.
We don't necessarily have to do it like with a mass group kind of evaluating things. It'll be more of a produced piece. But yeah, mentally that's all we do anymore.
Check out that,
anyways.
folks. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Hey,
Look
yeah,
forward to it.
the North End. This is the kind of content you can look forward to when you hit the like and subscribe button.
Like and subscribe. Smash it up. Smash it up.
The player of the week is a precious award that we give to the top performer in the Premier League every single week. ISODate, our lovely and fantastic sponsors, allow us to reach out to the star player and give them a gift certificate to join any virtual chat, to meet friends, meet people.
They struggle for ladies these days, with the lockdowns and everything. The players need
in a safe environment. ISODate, make friends. Connie just left his camera so that he can go check on his ISODate.
He got a notification message from ISODate. He's checking out what's going on.
So this week's top performer, super easy, not contentious, not a difficult thing to decide on. Raheem Sterling, my man.
Yeah,
3
he's
goals.
brilliant.
Gets what it's called a perfect hat trick, which means he scored with his left foot, his right foot, and then his goddamn head.
Yeah.
A perfect hat trick. 3 for 5 dribbles, shot accuracy of 100%, and a who scored rating of 9.6. He could have had a 10 if he hadn't missed the penalty. But
Back
then he
to
put
his
the penalty
best, right?
away.
Yeah, that's true, right? He missed the pen. Shit.
Like,
and he got.
It's not like he would have had 4 goals. He missed the penalty and he scored the rebound.
Yeah.
So it didn't affect the total number of goals. If anything,
right, I remember that. Yeah, of course.
It's the thing that created his perfect hat trick. But Raheem Sterling, you'll be sent a ISODate code for you to meet in a safe environment. Others looking to connect with real people. ISODate.
Yes, ISODate. Thank you, ISODate, for your continued support. And we've gotten some feedback from our star players, and they just love it. They love the ISODate. So under the circumstances, they're getting an opportunity to meet some fresh new people in the difficult lives they have to live.
We can't name the name because obviously it's a secret, but we've been invited to one of their weddings.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, you're not supposed to say anything about this, Paul.
Have you guys RSVP'd yet? Have we got our flights yet or no?
Well,
now they know that they don't live in Canada.
I've given away too much.
You have. Yeah. Keep your mouth shut.
I want to. Between him and his partner.
so Paul, we've got. We want to do the top 4.
I want to check in with everything right now because I think at this point of the season, what becomes more and more telling is the standings for sure, but checking in on form right now, I think could start really shaping what the top 4 looks like and possibly what the relegation zone looks like. So this is form based on Who Scored, which is a great site, a great resource. It's super simple to organize stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
This is the form of all the teams in the league over the past 6 games. You're going to see some surprises here and some no surprises. As an example, the second hottest team in the league are Arsenal.
That's also
wins.
how much they played too, though, Paul. There's a bit of skewed on there. They're 3 games in hand, so they're a little bit behind from a form perspective.
It's got nothing to do with how much they played.
Well, it is. It's it's the amount of games they played. It's over a longer span, and other teams have played more often, so there's more chance for them to win or lose. And
are we shitting on them? This is over their last.
I'm shitting on it. It's Arsenal. I got to shit on it.
Well, guess what though?
6 games played over 3 days or 6 games played over 3 weeks. It's still their last 6 results.
I know, but it's skewed because of it.
There
Anyway,
are two of their 3 games in hand against City and Liverpool. Good luck, Arsenal.
And Spurs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really don't understand why we're knocking this off so much. 6 games played. They are the second hottest team in the league.
No. I agree with Paul. On form, and Bri, it's true. I know what you're saying with it skewed, but this is just form. They're playing great football.
No, I know, but form is recent games. They haven't played a lot. I don't need to justify it. I get your guys' point. They are currently statistically speaking, have the second best win record in the last 6 games, and good on him, I suppose.
Yeah, great on him.
Brian, begrudgingly good on him.
Well, I mean, I still think my point stands, but anyways, go on, Paul.
I don't understand what your point is. Chelsea are
My fault.
kind of quietly not that great over the last 6 games, and it might become an issue because they've had a lot of games postponed, and they're going to have a fixture pile up relatively soon, and they're not going to be going into that fixture pile up on any kind of like form. Like, that's something to keep an eye out, because we've been taking it for granted that they're going to be the third and that it's going to be comfortable.
They don't
and
get
at
to
the
play.
top
They don't
four.
have to play Spurs anymore either, so they're not no guaranteed wins.
Yeah, that's a little tricky. And then what I thought was pretty surprising, over the last 6 games, the 6th hottest team in the league is Newcastle.
Yeah, they've been on fire.
They've had to be to do what they're doing. I mean, it makes sense.
Which is obviously, I think we all feel pretty good about. They're going to escape the relegation. This form
Certainly
is
feels
coming
like
at
that.
the right time.
Yeah.
They
Sadly,
are beating the teams they need to beat. They still have a lot of competition against the teams that are circling around the drain to come, which is points that they can take to really save themselves and hurt them. So 6th in the league, though, I personally thought that was like, they're on fire, but I didn't think that much. Like, 6th best record in the league over the last 6 games was a surprise to me.
I think 3 wins in a row does that, right? Like, you get 3 wins in a row.
Oh yeah.
It does. It does. Form is fickle, especially over a sample size of just 6 games. But 3 games in a row is 9 points. Like, that's towards the bottom of the table. That's huge. This is the thing that we should keep in mind. I think this is what's going to have most impact on the end of the season, is that Brentford's form is the worst in the league. And
yeah, that's a hard watch, isn't it?
Have been under everybody's radar, I think, because they were up the table for early results, and it was like a perceived safety thing, and now they're slowly starting to crawl down the standings, and you've got teams like Newcastle coming out of relegation, and you've got teams like Burnley looking like they're going to do the Burnley. Somebody
They need like
has to
14
go down
points
to replace
14
those teams.
14 points to be on that 38-point sort of a threshold of arguably staying up. I mean, I know that threshold changes slightly depending on the season. They're on 24, so they've got that's not an easy feat. 14 points, it puts them in a difficult situation if their form remains like this.
No,
it's concerning for sure.
Particularly since those points probably they have to come from the teams that are below them, and the teams that are below them are heating up. I mean,
Playing
Everton are not surprisingly the 4th worst form team in the league, but this is all pre their new signings, so you can expect Frank Lampard and the new signings to hopefully turn things around with that form. And then Burnley, again, I gotta say it, I just think they're
Burnley doing Burnley things.
Burnley doing Burnley things. Watford are shit.
Leicester.
Norwich are not, though. Norwich.
Look at Leicester's form right down there as well. Fuck, I know.
Yeah, like it's kind of wild, man. Like, I think Norwich is an example of they're too deep too late in the season, that even if their form gets mid-table form, it's not going to save them. They would need such a significant run to get out of there. But I have this sinking suspicion maybe Bradford gets sucked down.
I think you're right, man. Unless they can get an upturn of some kind. The way they were playing at the beginning of the season compared to the way they played in the last 6 games, and even more than that, because it's been poor before what we're seeing on this graphic. They just aren't they don't look like the same team. They're not playing with any confidence. They're not pressing as high. I remember that game against Chelsea in the last 25 minutes, half an hour against Chelsea. They just pinned Chelsea back and made them incredibly uncomfortable. They didn't get a result, but I'm like, holy shit, this Brentford team has got a lot in it. And they just dwindled. It just seems, and it's not like a massive injury issue either. It just seems like confidence has been sapped out of them, and they're not playing like they were earlier.
I'll tell you what it is about Brentford. And first and foremost, they've played 25 games. Every team below them has played 23, 22, or 21. So that's a big problem for Brentford. Everybody's got games in hand behind them. But we watched them early on in the season. What did we praise them for? They don't stop running. They don't stop moving.
Can't do that all season.
They don't have a deep enough squad, and we called it out halfway through. When they get deeper in the season, are they going to have anything left in the tank? They're showing now that they don't. and they don't have the caliber squad to maintain it. I don't know that they're going to go down, but they need to figure something out now because it's looking bad.
They need a big upturn in results.
Oh,
for sure.
yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like that classic Mario Kart. You don't use your boost until it's really getting down to the stretch.
That's it.
And then
They
don't
use
get
the boost
don't
right
get
off
knocked
the bat.
and lose the boost. If you lose the boost, you're fucked.
Don't run into
it. He gets
Donkey Kong either.
Yeah.
Great graphic
So,
though. It's a good thing to consider form wise. I look at that graphic and I think about Spurs and where we would be with the fourth loss in a row that's about to come this coming weekend. I think we'd probably be right down in that relegation conversation, not for the season, but for the for the statistic. Pretty interesting.
we'll revisit it every 4 weeks because it takes probably about 4 weeks for it to change in any real significant way. Otherwise, it's just like.
Now, what if
one
Arsenal
win
only
shouldn't
play
change
once
your
in that
table
four?
so much?
What if Arsenal only play once in that 4 weeks? Does that change their form and how you would think about it?
Oh, Jesus.
Form is based on results. It's not about when you
form
play
is
the
based
game.
on consistent results over a period of time, and if they haven't played, they're not getting consistent results. Anyway, let's go on. Let's get on to
second
preview.
best form in the league. I don't get what your argument is. So lots of games this week. 8 teams.
Look at that! You
played
couldn't even
twice.
finish it on the page yet.
It was a real
Jesus.
design nightmare, squishing it all in there. This is, if you want another fantasy tip, be aware it's 8 teams play twice. One of those teams is Liverpool, so you may want to think about that. One of those teams is Spurs. You may want to avoid that. And one of those teams is Arsenal, second hottest team in the league. You might want to think about that. Although they're playing Wolves, who I think are looking for a rematch because it was about 2 weeks ago now, maybe less, that Arsenal snuck a win against Wolves, and this is going to be a nice
Didn't deserve
little
it
rematch game.
on 10 men as well. Yeah,
Absolutely did
I
not.
quote Ruben Neves. He said they acted like they won the World Cup.
they did. It was
embarrassing.
embarrassing. Yeah.
It was embarrassing. So the bigger narrative is that there's a game in hand that Klopp has that it'll give parity to where we are actually in the standings right now. So if Liverpool win both their games this week and Man City win, then we could be looking at, I think it's about a 6-point gap between the future champions and the wannabe champions.
That's correct.
Which is like, that's getting tight. They still have to play
Come
each
on,
other.
Spurs,
That's
get
getting
a
tight.
result. Spurs just need to get a draw in this game. Like, give them, we're the Man City's bogey team. We can bogey Man City, get a draw, and Liverpool can get back into it. I don't care about Spurs at this point unless they can somehow manage to get to fourth. But I want a fucking title race of some kind, please.
Yeah.
My only
Please, Premier
problem
League,
is
deliver it.
I want someone to knock Man City off because they're so good. But if Liverpool win, they go ahead. They either tie or go ahead of United in Premier League titles. So
Well, you guys don't deserve it anyway at this point.
I can't have that. So I still need to go for City. I can't win.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Brutal.
Whatever it takes for us to get hungry to be good again. I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah,
No,
these are
no
your
more
two
Liverpool
rivals.
titles. No
You
more
got
Liverpool titles.
You got City, who's your city rival, like is in the same city, but not necessarily rivals or historically rivals. Liverpool, your biggest rival historically speaking. Both are better than your team currently, comfortably.
Correct.
That's got to be painful.
It sucks.
I mean, I'm in not a different position.
But we had
a
some
little
good
bit
years
maybe.
at the top, so a lot of people say, we've had this coming. So maybe that's the case. I don't know.
I'll say it before, I'll say it again. Nice little asterisk beside Man City. It makes me feel nice and warm at night.
Yeah. I can
Cheaters.
agree with that. Asterisk needs to be there for sure.
Yep.
Cheaters. Okay, let's get into it. Lots of games to talk about. West Ham looking to reverse their fortune, get back into the top 4 race against Newcastle, who are looking to maintain how things have been going.
This is gonna be tight.
This is going to be a fun game. I traditionally like these games. I always think this matchup tends to be very entertaining. Given the form of both clubs, I think this has got a lot of aspects to it for a very physical, intense game. I think it's going to get ugly at times, and I am looking forward to it. I wouldn't even want to guess what the score is going to be, nor should we feel like we have to be obligated to do that every time. But this is going to be a game I'm going to not wake up at 7:30 in the morning to watch, but I will watch it later.
I will get up at 7:30 because I don't drink alcohol anymore, and I've been getting up at 6:30 every morning. It's been great.
Are you off the sauce completely? Are you completely
I
off?
haven't had a drink in like 37 days, man.
Good for you. Congrats. I would also like to say this is going to be a reality check for Newcastle, and I think
Do
West
you
Ham,
think so?
Yeah,
I don't think so, man. I don't think
Yeah.
West Ham are playing good enough to give Newcastle a reality check. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that they're a bad side. I think they are a good side, but they've been inconsistent lately. Haven't been scoring the goals that they were before. And Newcastle are on the up a little bit with, obviously losing Trippier is going to be problematic, but I think this will be a good, tight, solid game, like a 1-1 draw or one
1-0.
team nicks it one way or the other. It's going to be tight, and I don't think it's comfortable for Newcastle. I think or for West Ham or Newcastle. I think it's going to be tight, a very tight game.
The second best form in the league plays the worst form in the league when Arsenal host Bradford.
Revenge here from the first game of the season.
Oh yeah.
Question marks about who's going to score for Arsenal, but I kind of feel like this is going to be a straightforward day for Arsenal. Good options for fantasy football in the defense of Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, Ben White for sure. Get him in.
Ben White, their keeper is.
Do you know he gets upset when
fantasy
people call him Ben White? He's like, my name's Benjamin White. He doesn't like to be called Ben White. Like, fuck off.
No, that's kind of cool. He's sophisticated, He's a sophisticated Englishman.
Cool.
I'm joking, obviously.
With chest tattoos.
Yeah, exactly.
Sophistication in all its form. Aston Villa host Watford for what I think should be an opportunity for Aston Villa to get back on top and turn things around a little bit. They're hitting a little bit of a skid. Nothing major, no cause for concern. Mid-table is still their destiny.
It's just been like that, a bit inconsistent, haven't they? Villa under Gerrard. I feel like
they're working some stuff out.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? You bring in Coutinho when he's on, or when he's been on, he's been brilliant. Man of the match performance, and then the next game isn't really involved. Doesn't do a heck of a lot. I think you're going to get that from him, and I think Villa are probably going to finish right where they are. I think they're going to continue that up and down season until they have a summer with Gerrard as a manager, and maybe they can crack on from there. But should have way more than enough to beat Watford, though.
Can Watford get to 4 managers this season? That's my big.
I wonder what the betting is on that. That'd be fun to see that if there is. There's got to be bets on it, right?
I would hope that there's some sort of mercy rule and they just get told like you can leave now.
There is no world in which Watford don't go down and don't go down brutally in this season. There just isn't. It's not even feasible.
And then I would have to imagine they get gutted quite a bit with 3 players I can name.
There's a few that stand out. Yeah, 100%.
Brighton versus Burnley. This is going to be a cagey affair. I think this is going to be physical. I think this is going to be a team that dominates possession but doesn't create a lot for itself against a team that is
0-0 draw written all over it.
Yeah, 0-0. Well, no way is there going to be 2 goals or more scored in this game.
No. Even a goal, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, 0-0.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a 0-0. Weghorst, I think I'm saying that right. The Dutch striker for Burnley is the kind of wild card for this. He may be injured. They don't know for sure. I think he's a big miss already. He's like a Chris Wood 2.0, a much better version of that. And that focus point that they give themselves to ease pressure and give themselves opportunities to score, I think he's going to be really important to their survival chances. So if he's not available for this game, and I would imagine the next game because it happened so soon after, big miss for Burnley. But otherwise,
they need that target too to get out of a team that is going to have, like you said, a lot of the ball.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, they're going to.
Jay Rodriguez is never going to be that guy. It just doesn't.
No, it's not. It doesn't.
It doesn't work
for sure. Yep.
Crystal Palace hosts Chelsea. Chelsea, who I cannot tell you the last time they had a Premier League game, but it's been a few weeks because of fixture changes and different tournaments that they've been in. This is an opportunity for possibly some Premier League rust because nobody can tell me they've been playing against.
They might have needed that
League
break
quality.
from the Prem though. They've been so bad, or like not so bad.
It
in
could
the
work.
Sense, I think
they could come back.
They've just been so like not Chelsea from the beginning of the season, and it looked like they were kind of losing any sort of confidence. And they go away and they win the Club World Cup, get another trophy. Some confidence gets back to the team. A little break from the Premier League sort of hustle and bustle. I think more than enough, right, for Palace. Palace is struggling at the moment, and Palace, they're at home, despite that normally being a difficult place to go, hasn't really been that this season.
I'm not going to put money on it, but I am going to tell you, I feel like in the spirit of Premier League upsets, this is the game where I'd be like, I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace can beat Chelsea.
I don't know about beat, but
I would be.
maybe a draw. My concern about Chelsea hasn't changed for the last couple of months. I'm not convinced by their offense by any means, and I think
I can agree with that. Yeah.
yeah, I think
It's
they're
been brutal.
I still think they'll stay in third. If anything, they could dip to fourth, but I think they have a problem because they don't have who knows what their best front three is. I couldn't
It's
even
amazing
guess.
that he hasn't stuck with one front three
Yeah.
that he thinks is the best front three. It's just tinker. Like that's all he fucking does. It's no wonder he's gotten the sack at other clubs, just because he can't find that.
I don't
sort
think
of
it's
magic
him,
weapon.
man. I don't think it's him. I think it's the players. Like I don't
They
think anyone
won
can find
they won
form.
Europe last season with the same players.
'cause
Plus,
of-
they got Lukaku in.
Because of
Come on.
fucking N'Golo Conte. That's the reason they won the Champions League. Seriously.
You can't say one player. I'm certainly I recognize the value of N'Golo Conte, but they won. They were champions of Europe because of the team they had in the coaching.
Yeah.
And he did something really well when he came in last season, and it isn't working right now.
But who would you say, Brian and Paul, of their attack, right? So of their front three, whatever you want, who would you say is nailed on there, and who you think is an automatic starter and that will make a difference in the game week in week out? every week?
I don't think you can say
Mason
anyone.
Mount.
Other than Mason Mount, and he has
He's
been
injured, isn't he?
His form has dipped significantly as well.
He's
He'd
also
probably
got
be.
a massive injury made. He's not going to
Yep.
play the rest.
No,
of
I
the season.
agree. So him.
No, not Mason Mount. You're thinking about Chilwell.
No,
Mason Mount doesn't have a massive injury.
He just got injured like last game. My understanding in the.
No,
Club
I
World
think
Cup,
he's
no?
okay. I think he's okay. But
Thought
other
he
than
got-
him,
anyway, sorry.
other than him, who else's name would you put on the team sheet? Lukaku. I said he's going to be a disappointment. Has been. Ziyech in and out. Who's the
Ziyech,
U.S.
I would say, should be consistently playing off the right. He's been one of their best forwards. He
Whereas
has been.
I'm
Statistically
gonna
speaking.
say
Pulisic,
let's rope this
inconsistent.
tangent down a notch because I'm not spending that much time talking
True,
about
true,
Chelsea.
true.
Liverpool, who won today against Milan 2-0, looked to maybe surpass the 4-0 beating that Man City laid down on Norwich with an even bigger beating down on Norwich.
Just quickly,
Norwich
Mason Mount is
looking-
injured, guys.
Cool.
Oh.
Norwich looking to curl up into a little ball and survive the next 3 weeks if they can.
Imagine doing City and then Liverpool one after the other.
It's going to be a bunch of guys going, where'd he go? Where'd who go? As winger after winger against Liverpool, like fly down Norwich. I don't know if you guys noticed today, but like every time I watched the game today in Champions League, and I was like, is that Harvey Elliott? Is that Mane? Is that Salah? Is that Jota? Everybody was on the pitch at the same time, and they were all winger positions, and they didn't miss a beat. There was no impact to the overall game. They were just all flyers.
Yeah, they've got like the system is in place there. They play the same no matter who's in the team. It's really impressive and really annoying, but that's they're that good.
We talk about
with a
them.
great squad.
We talk about them and we talk about City. The one thing I notice when I watch either of them, I don't see any other team, period, that works hard man to man. Every single 11, including the keeper.
Yeah, it's every
They don't-
player.
They don't stop
mass
moving
all the time. It's
Don't
like,
stop moving,
if
and
you lose
everyone
the
is
ball,
in
you win
unison.
it back every
Yeah.
fucking
Gotta move. Don't
It's
stop.
incredible.
Gotta move. Don't stop. Similar philosophy. Southampton hosting Everton. I something about Southampton, man. I think they're better now since some point in the season. Something's clicked together for that team.
They've been on good form.
It's that 60-minute break you were talking about earlier. That's
Maybe
working for 'em.
they whatever that magic liquid gel that they
Yeah.
ingest is.
the spells they're using on their teams.
They look like a team that are prepared to outwork you at the
This
very
is going to be a
least.
good game, though, guys. The Everton
think so.
Southampton. This should be fun.
Yeah.
With the resurgence of Everton, if that's what we are seeing. I mean, it's maybe too soon to tell. It arguably is. I mean, he's only played 2 in the Prem, Lampard. But the both teams, Southampton playing as well as they have, despite losing their last game, but Everton on the up. This for me is going to be one of the best games of the weekend.
I'll be watching this game live, selfishly, just to watch Donnie. But I think it's got the markings of a good game. I agree with Paul. I think Southampton quietly have been doing a rise. Their football looks better too.
Oh, yeah, I
they're
would agree.
creating offense. They're a nice team to watch. This should
They are.
be a good game.
Yeah.
What about this next game, Buyer? Are you excited for the next one?
No, I'm not excited about it. I'm fucking terrified. How bad are we going to lose? Is the question. What's to be excited about here? We like I said this earlier. I said it on the video that is coming out at 9:00 on our channel. What we have to deal with when it comes to losing 3 in a row and then knowing you got to play Man City next. Arguably, you can almost say losing 4 in a row in the league. That is a really, really difficult place to be, considering we had gone 8 unbeaten before that started. I don't see anything. Spurs getting anything out of this. It's away at the Etihad. If it was at home, maybe where they're bogey team at home, we sometimes get results away from them. Like in the Champions League, we got some results. When I say results, I mean draws. We got lucky with VAR on a couple of occasions. We are a bit of their bogey team. It's not because we're better than them. It's because sometimes we get lucky. And sometimes one player, usually Heung-min Son, gets a goal against the run of play, and we'll hold on to that. So it's possible, but not likely. So I don't.
You did beat them 1-0.
We did, yeah. We beat them 1-0 at the beginning of the season. They had barely even started playing Man City football at that point. It was really early doors. So
let me just frame it. You did beat them 1-0, and Son did score, but Mendy wasn't in prison at the time.
Oh yeah.
So that's an indication of how early this event happened.
Yeah, it was a while back. I think it was the first
Nathan
game of the
Ake
season.
started.
I think Nathan Ake started their last game. I think it's because they can rotate. They can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter.
But let's be honest.
Nobody's attacking Man City. Or very.
Let's be honest. At the end of this game, if you come away with a 2-0 loss, like it's not one of those things. Oh fuck, we lost. All that stuff. You're losing to arguably one of the best teams in Premier League history. It's just
the timing
honestly,
is bad, Connie. We needed to win 2 games
other than
prior,
maybe
we'd be fine with it.
Other than maybe Liverpool, and I don't even think Liverpool. Well, maybe. Everyone is nailed on for a loss against them right now, Brian. So they are just at that
I know.
insane level.
I accept that. I would have accepted that at the beginning of the season, that even before seeing them play, that's going to be one of the hardest games of the season. It's just coming. It's happening after 3 games in a row we've lost.
Wrong time.
Yeah, it's the timing of it is piss poor, and it's an inevitable fourth, and it's an inevitable meltdown from our entire fan base. Which is basically what happens week in, week out, or every other week with being a Spurs fan.
Sunday, Leeds host Man United. Man United, who beat them up 5-1 earlier this season. I don't know, man. Leeds are going through a pretty rough patch right now, and I think Man United
still playing children off the bench, eh? Like their injury problem is massive.
And it's not. I just don't think you can manage your way out of it. Like we've had this conversation before. I think this is a good time for Man United to roll into Leeds. I think they've got to look to score a lot of goals in a game against somebody to make all the chances that they're creating for the past 3 or 4 games count. I would expect to see Cristiano Ronaldo specifically like chomping at the bit, given that he could have scored a hat-trick his last game and he only scored 1. That shit eats him up. Bruno Fernandes was the man of the match the last time these two teams played. I do expect to see something similar from him. This should be a good game. It should be an entertaining game. It always is. But I think it'll be so wide open that the style of play benefits more Man United, ironically, than it does Leeds, even though it's Leeds who are going to be the ones making it so wide open. So
classic fixture at Ellen Road. This is old school Premier League or old school English football right here.
There's going to be some scraps.
It's going to be a fun watch, I think, on Sunday.
Their fans have been waiting for this all season, and some of them, a fraction of them, are going to be ready for violence. But there's no other team in the league I'd rather play right now because I know they're going to give us chances. And United are due for one of those games where they need to start taking their chances.
Finishing,
so I could see like a 4-2 because we're leaky as well. All you have to do is put crosses in against us. Our positioning on our back 4 is horrific at best. So there could be goals in this game.
Rafinha's going to give some issues to somebody.
Oh,
that
God.
You can put money down. Wolves are going to host the Foxes. Leicester City limping into the Wolves. Earlier in the season, Leicester beat Wolves 1-0. I think it's a different Wolves. I think that was so early in the season.
Different Leicester, different Wolves, for sure.
I think Wolves were experimenting with playing with a back 4. They're built to be a back 3 team. And as soon as they reverted back to that back 3, we are now seeing the results of that. This should be an interesting battle. I think it's really rough days for Leicester right now. Like this isn't a team I'd want to face normally because I think Wolves are just generally pretty dangerous. But in terms of where they're at with their form and what they're about to string together, because I think Foxes and then Arsenal, all of a sudden they're very close to top 4, if not just edging into it, depending on the other results. So for me, this feels like I would feel pretty comfortable putting money on Wolves to win this game, and I might just take that bet.
But like, are we talking about Wolves 1-0 FC or what are we talking?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I can't
That's
see
good
a ton of,
shout.
can't see a ton of goals in this game.
But what if Madison and like Daka and Tielemans just pop? Like, we know if Leicester have one of those games, you wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 2-1 or 3-1 Leicester. If those guys clicked.
I disagree. I think Spurs have a better front three, and Wolves kept Spurs front three relatively quiet. Even
They're
though
so
Spurs,
good defensively.
Even though, then that's
The
my
second
point.
best defense in the league.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're very tight, and if Wolves score one goal early, it's game over.
Yeah, good show.
Yeah. I mean, if it's anything, they may not be able to score. That's their Achilles heel. If they
Could
can't
finish 0-0, but they won't
Yeah.
lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of 0-0, Burnley hosting, who I got to imagine they're probably going to be a little bit injured limping into this game, Spurs,
Yeah.
realistically. Too many variables to know the outcome of this game. Won't dwell on it because
Just a quick one for me, if you don't mind. The complete opposite of what we're gonna see at Man City. Spurs are gonna have a shit ton of the ball against Burnley and struggle breaking them down, and it'll be the opposite in the game previously. It'd be interesting to see what Conte's tactics are in attempting to do that, because Burnley are going to be resolute.
I also think it's the whole like battered dog syndrome. Like if Man City do get the 3 points against Spurs, I think you're going to see some resiliency from the Spurs squad to say, you know what, we fucking need a win. And I think you're going to see
They're going to go at them. It's just whether they can break them down or not. It's just
2-0. 2-0 Spurs. Harry Kane will pop up.
I think that should be the case, but I'm not going to put one past Burnley on at this point with what they've been able to do defensively against some of the bigger teams. It's not cut and dry for me.
Watford are going to give Crystal Palace their first win in a long time.
Yep, that's pretty much all you need to say for that game.
Yeah,
Stan will be happy.
Yep, moving forward.
And then Liverpool are going to beat to death Leeds, who are looking to possibly concede the most goals
This
in a
game.
series of 4 or 5 weeks.
Leeds scored on Liverpool though. But the last game they played, didn't it? Wasn't it a 3-3 draw or something like that? I mean, it was very open across the board from both teams. I'm not saying it'll be exactly the same, but I do think Leeds, like Liverpool, give up enough to maybe give Leeds some chances. It should be a fun watch, but Liverpool certainly should.
So here's my question, guys. I'm going to use my triple captain this game week, and
I need to do that.
It's going to be Salah. And so my question is, do I do it against Norwich or do I do it against Leeds? Part of me's thinking Leeds.
I think Norwich because it's guaranteed. I think Leeds.
Sorry.
What?
It's a dumb question.
What?
Oh, because
It's a double game week. You get both.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna play it. Guys,
what's Paul on about? Oh, that makes complete
guys,
sense.
thanks so much. Thanks so much for your support.
Thank you for Fantasy Corner Part 2.
And for the record, Leeds lost 3-0 earlier this season to Liverpool, and it was Mo Salah who had a goal against them at that time.
They played recently where maybe it was last season, I'm thinking, because the season's
maybe
all
a cup
mushed
game.
into one. Maybe a cup game.
Last season when they first got promoted, they had like a 3-3 opening
That's the one I'm
day
thinking
game
of.
against Liverpool.
That's the one I'm
and it
thinking
was
of.
crazy.
Super fun.
And that's when everybody was like, "Oh my God, Bielsa, so exciting!" And it is.
Yeah.
They're not wrong. But this is if you look at who Leeds are going to have been playing over the past 4 or 5 fixtures, they don't have a rotation. They're already battered. They're going to be tired. They
Coming
play
off
such
United
a high
on
energy
Sunday.
game. Coming off of United, like this is perfect for Liverpool. And yeah, triple captain, man. My only caution for triple captain for anybody listening is it's you and everybody else doing it.
I know. Well, what if I mix it up and take Jota instead of Salah?
You could take Harry Kane or Heung-min Son as well. You got a couple of players who might
No,
score.
no, not doing that. Not doing that. It's going to be one of those two. I don't know. We'll see.
We talked about it earlier. The last game of the week will be Arsenal hosting Wolves. Wolves who were hard done by the
revenge
against Arsenal, who very publicly talked about how ridiculous the Arsenal players were and the way they celebrated a 1-0 10-man win against Wolves. Ruben Neves is going to put his cleats through somebody and score a goal from outside the box. You heard it here first from me. Promise you that's going to happen. One of those two things or both.
I fucking love Ruben Neves. And you know what? I want to call out
game.
Paul Forrest was the one who had the initial hard-on for Ruben Neves when Wolves came up, and we mocked him, and he's just gotten better and better. Hats off to Paul Forrest calling out Neves early, and we slagged him, and we made fun of him. And you know what?
Nobody made fun of him. You can't make shit up.
Brian, we teased him so hard about his love for Wolves and
teased
Neves.
him about Wolves, not from Neves. Neves was always
Remember,
a good player. Pretty obvious.
He got a jersey, but we teased him how much he loved him. Like we
Yes,
tease
I
for
agree
life.
with that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Not
That's
about
what
Neves being good.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Blatant
But
skill
he is
level.
legit. He's legit.
Fantastic player.
Despite
and
his
we all want-
Portuguese roots, I still love
Brian,
him.
you want it as well. You know what? We all want a Wolves win here because fuck Arsenal, right?
100% guaranteed. I love that.
Feels right.
That is a great
Feels-
way to. That is a great way to end the pod. Really, I mean,
100%.
Yeah, fucking Arsenal. Thanks for watching, everybody. Just want to let everybody know in about 10 minutes, there's a response to a stream we did on Tottenham on Tour. That is 5 things that Adam learned about Spurs' loss to Wolves. I countered it with my response to his points. So go over to the North End and watch it on the North End. So we're doing a little team up with the channel back and forth. Some conversations can be
Bobby
had.
knows it.
Little bit of fun. So hop on over to both channels. If you're not a Spurs fan, I understand you don't want to go over to Tottenham on Tour, but it's a lot of fun there. Bobby knows. Bobby. So yeah, hop on over there and check that out. And everybody else, thanks for watching, guys.
And
anything?
let me just say, because I think it's worth saying, because I would take it for granted. Tottenham on Tour is another channel that's just for our Tottenham followers.
Yeah.
We have so many that we started a separate project just for the overflow of Tottenham our
exactly
fans that we're just pushing over there.
It's a number of them. So it's a large amount that have gone over there. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for watching. Hop on over to that channel. And like I said, there'll be lots coming up. We've got Connie, what are you working on? You got some stuff coming.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a 5 things after we smash Leeds, and then just kind of some thoughts on where United are at, and I think hopefully Paul and myself and maybe somebody else will be doing some Man United stuff in the coming weeks, and then I'm really looking forward to the segment where we start to get our cash and start to plan our team for next season, because that's something I'm really passionate about. I know Paul is, and Brian, I know you are as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to that as well. I figured if we got Connie saying it on record that he might actually do the work, so we'll see how that fits.
I've done more segments than you have on this channel, pal.
I don't.
Oh no, that is in fact very true. Very true.
I think I'm.
No, you just did one?
Well, I've been
Dave,
doing this show.
Dave, he's our audio producer.
For 4
Oh yeah,
years.
we love him. We love Brian. We love Brian. Brian's great. Keep up the great work, Brian.
Piss off, mate.
I'm really happy that our spin-off channel has been so entertaining for you, Brian.
Yeah. You know what? The other one was the spin, but sometimes things work. You know how things go. But anyways, love
He's
you
keeping
guys.
busy. Brian's keeping busy. That's all that
people
matters.
Who are watching, make sure you like and subscribe. This channel's starting to grow nicely, so keep coming. Hope you enjoyed the content. Looking forward to seeing you again soon, and have a good one. Cheers.
Bye.
This is the North End.